Okay, so as I said last time, suffrage was allowed, that is, the right to vote was given to the male citizen only, not the woman citizen over the age of 21. And that actually triggered a lot of issues. Let's come to the Silesia village. Let's see what happened in Poland at that time. Now, in 1845, weavers in Silesia led a revolt against these contractors. Now, these contractors used to, supply them raw material and get finished textiles from them and pay them for their whatever they did, the work that they did. Now, the basic idea behind that was the payment literally with time got reduced, and that actually triggered all these workers. So on 4th June in 1945, 2 p.m., a large crowd of weavers gathered into the and entered into the colonies of all these contractors, went into their house, destroying places, destroying their homes, even went to their sheds where these raw materials were kept. They stole these raw materials and started using them. One of these neighboring villages is also which where this issue happened. There was a person which refused to do so. One of the contractors. He fled the scene. He ran away and got the army. That was then. Yes, as coming in Poland, that was actually ruled by Russia. So when he got the army, around 11 people, around 11 weavers, workers were shot for this act. So this was the issue that happened in the Silesia village. Now let's come to the revolution of the liberals. Parts of the Europe started revolting to bring back democracy. Now they understood the idea that aristocrats existing there will always be an issue, and for that we have to actually do not what we call it develop the much more higher aristocracy. Let us develop democracy. You see, the German people actually had lots of issues. The Germans were the first one to ask for their own nation. They saw that they were distributed in all these states, and that was a major issue because if you see the German population, German speaking language, there was not a country named Germany. They were present in Prussia, Austria, Italy, France, everywhere, and they had to be gathered under one this thing. So all these middle class professional together, everyone came and met at Frankfurt where there was a parliament meeting. You'll ask me where Frankfurt is. Frankfurt in today present year is in Germany. Now, at that time, on 18th May 1848, all the elective representatives who were actually from the middle class of the parliament were called into the Frankfurt Parliament in the Church of St. Paul. And that time, the ruler, King Frederick Wilhelm IV, opposed being a monarch. Now, if you see the middle class population, now, people did not like King Frederick William IV because he was not actually taking care of the people. The middle class people were the most majority of the parliament, but the middle class people were thinking all about themselves, but not for the lower classes, not for the noble class. Hence, the assembly was a failure. As although the major of the parliament consisted of the middle class people, no one was happy with it. The reason behind is middle class people were not thinking about anything else. They were not. They all only wanted the rights. Okay, they were not thinking about things like life. Okay, there were major killings. Kings, aristocrats were killed for no reason at all, and that actually triggered all these issues, and hence the assembly was a big failure. Then came feminism. Feminism was that idea to develop and to empower women and to bring them up in society. Okay, they asked for suffrage, that is the right to vote. They formed their various groups, organization throughout the European Revolution to bring and show that they have an important place in the society. They even have their different processions in the parliament, but they were not allowed to interfere. See, if you see the Frankfurt Parliament right here, the top left side have all the women seated. They can only watch while all these consisted of all the majority middle class people. They said maybe the aristocrats which were opposed by, and maybe the lower class people which were back in the seats. So this was the Frankfurt Parliament, and this was the Church of Saint Paul. Now you see, you'll ask me why the church, sir, why Parliament is in the church. I told you the conservatism was based on the idea of religion, and Catholic was the prominent religion. Christianity was the prominent religion followed there. So yeah, that was one of the places where most of the acts were, most of the governmental work and the running of the country was done. Yeah. At the end of 1848, the aristocrats restored full power. No one could stop them now because the middle class people were collapsing. They were not being supported by. Okay, and as noble kept, their rule became stronger. However, they were actually kind of what we call it better now because they still abolished serfdom, banned bonded labor, that is your slavery, and allowed people and gave them various rights. Let's talk about the two main parts of the chapter now. First is the making of Germany. Now you see the population of Germany was distributed in 39 confederation states. The Germany wanted to be fall under a certain one name, one country that could be called Germany. Okay. Now the German speaking language were actually German speaking, what we call it, German language speaking people were actually distributed in territories that time were owned by Junkers. Now, Junkers are these landlords, okay, fancy landlords with a huge capital with lots of money, and these are noble people. Now, that time there was a Prussian ruler, okay. The Prussian chief minister, Otto von Bismarck. Now, Prussian Empire was one of the very strong empires then. Otto von Bismarck took his responsibility to bring all these German states together. Hence, he was known as the architect of modern Europe, that is the architect of Germany. Okay, so he went on 3 wars for 7 years. He fought Austria, he fought Denmark, he fought France. And defeating all these kings, he brought back the regions of Germany. All the German speaking people in that territory were now a part of Germany. And then came the Treaty of Versailles. On the cold morning of 18 January 1871, the Prussian king, okay, Kaiser William the First, was proclaimed as the German emperor. He became the German emperor, and the one to do this treaty was none other than Otto von Bismarck. So, if you see this photo clearly, you can see standing up on stage in the center is your Otto von Bismarck, and right next to him is the king to be, that is Kaiser William the First, the very first German king. So, then Germany came into be established, but still there were some issues. They still fell into the Prussian rule. They were known as the German states. And here are what you can see in the index that the German Empire still existed. So this all part was later taken by the German. This German Empire later joined the entire of Prussia that later today is known as Germany. Then there was this part, the yellowish part, which was Austria's, which they won over the war. Then there was the France's part that they won, and all of that made the unification of Germany, and that is how Germany established its strength and came to be known one of the very strongest country in this entire world, and that is the country which played an important role in World War One and World War Two. Let's talk about the unification of Italy. Now, same issue like Germany happened in Italy. The majority of Italy was ruled by three different types of kingdoms. The northern part, all of this was ruled by the Habsburg Empire. Habsburg were these great rulers, great aristocrats since the 16th century, lots of power, lots of money. The center part, the papal state, was ruled by the noble people, the popes. Okay, now these popes were the ones who actually ran the entire Christian religion. And the southernmost part, the kingdom of both Sicilies, were run by a Spanish people. Now, it was then responsibility of one king, the king of Sardinia, Piedmont, King Victor Emmanuel II. Okay, he knew that if we want to win Italy, we can only win this via war, and hence he went on to war. He first defeated Chief Minister Caviar of France and won the upper part. That is in the year 1959. So you can see this 1958 written over here. This was later won in 1959 from France. Then he defeated the Spanish rule later in 1960. So you can see the kingdom of Sicilies. He won it in 1960s with the help of workers. Also in 1861 he became the king. As slowly he discovered the entire of Italy and brought it under world rule. Now see 1870s and all, it took some time for to shake some of these Portuguese and Spanish rulers, but he played an important role. Now let me tell you a fun thing about Italy. Okay, Italy was a mix of all these population. There were nobles, there were middle class people, there were also peasants, but most of them actually, the fact was they were illiterate. So the issue what happened was whenever nobles and middle class people said Italia, Italia means Italy, that is a country.